He was the first person in history to refuse the Nobel Prize for Literature. He is a spiritual beacon for the oppressed people of the world. There was a piece of popular culture that everyone knew about after the war. After his death, tens of thousands of French people took to the streets to follow his coffin. He is one of the most important philosophers in France in the 20th century, the main representative of French atheistic existentialism, and the representative of existentialism. He is one of the two arms of French literature in the 21st century. He is Jean-Paul Sartre. Jean-Paul Sartre was born on June 21, 1905 in Jeanville, a suburb of Paris, France. His father was a naval officer, and his mother was a very devout Catholic. Although Sartre's parents had strong religious beliefs, he showed doubts about religion at an early age and eventually became an atheist. Below, I will give you some ideas to give you an initial understanding. Have you ever thought about these questions? What is a person? What is the true nature of man? Do you think you are a complete person? From a biological perspective, this is not difficult to answer. But what about from a philosophical perspective? This is a problem that troubles philosophers. The famous French philosopher and writer, Jean-Paul Sartre, gave his own answer in his book, Existentialism is a Humanism. He believed that people are nothing except what they think they are. This is the first principle of existentialism. How should people deal with themselves? Sartre's answer is freedom of choice. In Sartre's view, people are completely free to choose whatever environment they face, what choices they make, what actions they take, and what kind of life they live, because people are free, and people are freedom. He is a representative figure of existential philosophy. He is a person who lives his life as his own thoughts and ideas, and he practices his thoughts with his life. The unity of knowledge and action is the highest state, and it is even more valuable in today's world. Today, let us work together to find the balance between knowledge and action, and to find our own path. Humanity is destined to suffer from freedom. Others are hell. Life is meaningless, and death is meaningless. The meaning of a person is given by himself. That is, existence precedes essence. Self-deception always oscillates between sincerity and cynicism. A name that will live forever after death is an unreliable thing. Those who resort to violence still get violence. Hatred means recognizing the freedom of others. Only actions can judge people's thoughts. The only creed of philosophy is to affirm human freedom. Everyone needs freedom only in opposition to others. Be humble. If you hold yourself up too high, you will be shattered if you fall down. People with social lives know how to see in the mirror how they appear to others. If you try to change something, you should first accept many things. We come to this world not for pleasure, but to settle accounts. The best job is not what you think is the hardest, but what you are best at. If you feel lonely when you are alone, it means you are not being a good friend to yourself. The ultimate meaning of an honest and reliable person's actions is the pursuit of freedom itself. You have never lost your freedom. You have always been free. The reason you feel unfree is because you have freely chosen not to be free. I am an obedient child. I will not change until death, but I will only obey myself. A person is always a storyteller. His life is surrounded by his own stories and the stories of others. He sees everything he encounters through stories, and he strives to live like what he tells. It is foolish to deny yourself all the time, for you are using yourself up in vain. What you see is precisely because you want to see it. The world is absurd, life is painful, and life is meaningless. I want to see myself clearly now while there is still time. I just existed, that's all, and I felt sick. I can't change the past, but I can always change the future. The torturer strives to destroy the humanity of his fellow man, and as a result, he destroys his own humanity. Gods and kings share the painful secret: man is free. We can daydream a lot, we can fail, we can cry, but we can also shine brilliantly. People are like dice, throwing themselves into life. Not choosing is actually a choice. We suffer because we are free. People have the right to choose, and people obtain their own essence through choices. Take action, and in the process of action you will form yourself. Man is the result of his own actions and nothing else. The more absurd life is, the more unbearable death is. No one hinders my freedom. It is my life itself that drains my freedom. Man first exists, encounters various things. The world rises and falls, and then defines himself, because man has nothing at the beginning and only becomes something later. I know that there will never be anyone or anything that can inspire our passion again. You know, loving someone is not a trivial matter. It requires perseverance, generosity, recklessness, and even jumping over an abyss at the beginning. It is human nature to suppress others, and man is born free. And this freedom is the freedom of choice. Life gave me what I wanted, but also taught me that it meant nothing. Even if you get the one you love, you still feel empty. In a sense, choosing is possible, but not choosing is impossible. I can't do anything about the past, but I can always change the future. Failure to resist in dark times means complicity. All the people spent their time explaining to each other and celebrating the fact that they were on the same page. My God, how much they valued the fact that everyone was on the same page. There are two things in the world that are eternal. One is the sun, moon, and stars hanging high above our heads. The other is the noble faith hidden deep in everyone's heart. Man is nothing but what he intends to be. He exists in proportion to the extent to which he realizes himself. He is therefore the sum of his actions, which is nothing but his life. The standard for growth is, after rejecting others, you should not feel any guilt. Once you realize that you can make big things smaller by thinking differently, it will be hard to worry about anything anymore. Just try your best. There should be no illusions. The ultimate freedom is being able to leave anyone and anything you don't like. From the moment man is thrown into this world, he is responsible for all his actions. Truth is ruthless, but also lovely, and it sets those who love it free. If you are extremely obsessed with someone, then you are definitely not worthy of this person. Death actually happens anytime and anywhere, and it constitutes the reality of our lives, just as eating, living, work, and love constitute the reality of our lives. All mortals are bound to die, and death reveals the nihility of life. To face the nihility is to face death. Value is nothing more than the meaning of your choice. All I know is that I will do everything I can. Other than that, I am not sure of anything. With great freedom comes great responsibility. Before being able to find any truth, people must have an absolute truth. And there is such a simple, easy to find truth that everyone can grasp, and it is that people can directly feel themselves. Youth is such a wonderful thing. It radiates red light from the outside, but feels nothing inside. Human freedom precedes and makes human essence possible. The essence of human existence is suspended in human freedom. He who never repents is God himself. Once you hear the details of victory, it's hard to separate victory from defeat. Loyalty, even deep loyalty, is never pure. I could help her, but she had to be able to ask. I walked slowly past her, looking at her. She stared at me, but it seemed that she couldn't see me, and she didn't know where she was in pain. No need for a red-hot grill. Hell is someone else. If you try to change something, you should first accept a lot of things. Loneliness is an essential characteristic of human nature. It is a need for people to find meaning in life. Every word has consequences, and so does every silence. Life itself has no meaning. Its meaning depends on you, and value is nothing but the meaning you choose. Man is nothing but what he intends to be. He exists in proportion to the extent to which he realizes himself. He is therefore the sum of his actions, which is nothing but his life. Culture cannot save the world, nor can it save people, nor can it uphold justice. The world is absurd, life is painful, and life is meaningless. A coward is a coward who makes himself a coward, and a hero is a hero who makes himself a hero. In my own eyes, I am getting worse and worse. I did not do well yesterday. That was yesterday's matter. But today, I already have a premonition that I will judge myself harshly tomorrow. Life is a short moment, and we must create our own meaning. There are no fixed moral principles in life, and it is up to each individual to decide for themselves their own moral values. Meaninglessness and hopelessness are the norm in modern society, and we need to find our own meaning and purpose. The so-called normal is just the suppression and regulation of individuals by society. Freedom is the refusal to submit to the expectations and control of others. Freedom does not mean freedom from constraints, but the right to choose to accept constraints. People are the creators of their own destiny, and any dilemma can be changed through our choices. We need to actively choose our own life path instead of passively accepting society's arrangements. Everyone is their own master, and no one has the right to interfere with our choices. In the pursuit of freedom, we may suffer loneliness and pain, but it is worth it. We must bravely reject society's expectations and constraints and pursue our true selves. Man is free. Man is freedom. We can only truly show our strength when we face difficult situations.